Okay, 3D Boxing is here with Austin Rivas of McAllen, Texas. He'll be back in action on February 18th in Corpus Christi on a run at promotions card. It's good to have you on, champ. How's it feeling? How's camp going? And how's everything going?
Everything's good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, everything's good. Actually, just finished the session right now. So yeah, just about getting ready, getting prepared for the fight.
So there hasn't been a card in Corpus Christi in about I think it's been almost over 4 years, about 4.5 years. Um,
Okay.
you've never fought in Corpus before, right? You fought in the Valley and stuff, but you never fought in Corpus, right? Um,
Right. Not yet.
Are you looking forward to that experience? You're gonna have your fans travel. It's not too far, a couple of hours from where you live. You're gonna have some fans there, or what's it like fighting for you fighting in Corpus?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't fought in Corpus. I know it's a nice place, great place. I had family living there for a moment. I traveled there a couple of times, and from what I've seen, it's awesome. I mean, aside from that, I'm looking forward to this fight.
And well, let's get into your fight. February 18th, Corpus Christi. You're back at it against Christian Perez. Only had one fight. Do you know much about your opponent, and what are you expecting on February 18th?
Not much. Right now, I know he has one fight, right? Aside from that, just right now looking to get prepared for that fight. And can't overlook an opponent no matter what his record is. And you got to go in there and do your best, do what you prepared to do. Just go in
You,
there and fight.
Whenever you are in the ring, you give a good effort and you give a good showing, which is why you're constantly on these cards and people want to see you again. You've been in the ring with a lot of good fighters, undefeated fighters. You've been in the ring with Dimas De Leon. You've been in with Jose Adolfo Martinez. He made his pro debut against you. Jaime Guevara, Jaime Hasso. You were just in with Ryan Shaw. You've been in with Jose Temez as well, who's also from the
So,
Valley. You've been in with a lot of good fighters. First off, who do you think? Who would you say is the best fighter you've been in with?
I mean, they're all great fighters, all tough opponents, and I mean, like I said, they're all good fighters. I mean, they're where they're at because they're where they're at. They put in the work. They've done all what they need to do, and with that aside, I go in there, I try my best, and at the end of the day, it's a fight, and they were the best man of those nights.
Back in 2021, September 2021, title prospect Jaime Guevara made his pro debut against you. Remember that fight in Laredo?
Laredo, correct? Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that fight.
very close fight. They gave it to him, the Laredo kid. Do you think you earned that decision? Do you think you should have gotten the nod in that fight?
Um, to be honest, it was a great fight. It was a good fight. I liked that fight. He came in, he was throwing, kept throwing, and I was in there just going at it. It was back and forth, back and forth. Based on decision, I mean that's what it is, and I have nothing to take away from him. Like I mentioned, all these fighters, with him, on this comment, he put in the work. He got in there and he was the best. He was a better man that night.
So you're fine with the decision? No hard feelings over the decision.
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, it was a great fight. For me, I completed the 4 rounds. We went to 4 rounds. We gave everybody a show, and at the end of the night, I had a good time. In terms of being able to go in there and perform.
You fought all over, right? You fought a lot, in the Rio Grande Valley. You fought in Laredo. You fought a lot close to home, but you've also fought all over the country, right? You fought in Kentucky. You fought in Tennessee. You fought in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Like you've been everywhere. First, talk about that. What's it like going on the road and going into someone else's hometown to fight them?
That's interesting. You going in, when you go to these places, it's you don't know what to expect. You don't know, it's foreign land basically in a sense. You going in there, you don't know anybody there, and it's interesting. The first time I went there, it was just different. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know, it was a new experience for me. So, all that takes, you got to take that into consideration when you're going into a fight because you don't know how it'll affect you. Out of the times that I've traveled, they've all been great experiences. And I have nothing to take away from those fights.
Now, is it a little bit, talk about the difference, right? Like you're fighting at home, you got a hometown cheer behind you, you got fans, you got family there. You go on the road, it's just you. Is it better? Is it less pressure? Is it better to have the fans behind you? Or talk about like the difference, like what's it like? Is it better or worse going into someone else's hometown than having your fighting in your backyard?
I would say that in a sense, mentally, the space is a little bit more clearer in that. I don't know about pressure because you're going into the fight at the end of the day, and you gotta put yourself in the best mindset. But going to other places, sometimes by myself has been interesting. Sometimes I feel more relaxed than I think I should have been during the fight. Sometimes I just feel like I don't know what to expect.
And again, you always you fight hard every time out, and again, you make good competitive fights, and you fight people tough. In your last fight just 2 months ago, you fought Jose Temez in the Valley. I think it was in Mercedes. Talk about that fight and what it was like to be in the ring with Temez, who's a really really touted guy. Who you went the distance with.
Yes, sir. I mean, he's a good fighter. I mean, from what I know, he put in a lot of work for this training camp. He came in prepared, which was awesome, so because so did I. And we were able to go back and forth in a sense. I know he wasn't gonna, just sit back or anything like that. But, I went in there to, put on a show at the end of the day. It was a good fight.
I, it was a good fight, and again, you fought a really a touted guy who's expected to do a lot in the sport. You turned pro back in 2017. Is that correct? I think 2017 is about right.
That's correct.
So you've been a pro now 5, going on 6 years. What have you learned from the beginning, and how are you a better fighter now than you were 5 or 6 years ago?
So in that, you would have to, definitely preparation is key. Being in the gym as much as you can for these fights, even after the fights, you never know what to expect coming up after. And, just keeping your mind, it's a mental development at the end. Every time you go in there, you finish a fight, you come out a little bit clear headed. You kind of think that, maybe I could have tried this or that. And you come out with more information, more experience. And, starting off, it was a new world in a sense, and nothing I wasn't already familiar with, but it was just different fighting in a crowd with just with the 8 ounce gloves, no headgear, and really going in there to fight.
Take me back. You turned pro in 2017. Talk about your start in boxing. Did you have much of an amateur career? Did you fight much as an amateur, or talk about your start into boxing and when you decided to turn professional?
So starting off in boxing, it was an adventure for me. It was something that I suddenly got into, and when I got into it, I would train as much as I could at the end of the, make sure I got every session in, because it was for me that experience of learning something new and getting better at it. And I have 2 amateur fights, and with those 2 amateur fights, they were definitely great experiences. I learned a lot about myself. I learned where I was, and I learned that sometimes it's just time, or I don't know if time is the best word, but going in at different times puts you in different moments where you think to yourself, maybe you have doubts. For me, those 2 fights were tough mentally more than anything. They were mentally tough because I didn't know how to really put myself in that prime set yet.
So you've grown a lot as a fighter. You've improved a lot as a fighter. I want to go back. Obviously, coming from the Rio Grande Valley, which is now a hotbed for boxing. I mean, there's tons of good fighters all over the RGV. Let's talk about that, right? I mean, just in recent years, Omar Figueroa's won a world title. Brandon Figueroa's won a world title. You got guys like Omar Juarez, Sammy Castaneda, who's on the card, Fabian Diaz, who fought yesterday on the card. What's going on in the 956 that all of a sudden it's this hotbed for boxing with all these top-notch fighters coming out.
Definitely, I always take that in consideration too. You know, you got war champions down here. You got tough fighters, and you got a good environment. When it comes to the boxing world down here, everybody's so involved. Everybody's trying to get to the top. You know what I'm talking about? Just getting to the top of that pyramid in a sense. Everybody's competitive. Everybody's just looking to get to be the best here. And it puts everybody in a competitive mindset.
It really is. If you've never been down to the Rio Grande Valley, I mean, it's not a big city, right? It's not New York or LA or Chicago or something like that. But the boxing community is great. Like I've never seen a better boxing community in a small mid-sized cities like that. Like it's really, they come out and they support each other, and they all support each other, right? Like there's no like, wow, they don't root against each other, they don't hope for each other's downfall. They all kind of support each other, and it really is a boxing family there in the 956. So let's get it back to February 18th. You returned to the ring. It's only been 2 months. Christian Perez. Give us a prediction and why is this fight going to be different, and why why are you going to win this time?
For me, putting in the work. I know he's coming in to fight. At the end of the day, it's about who's willing to go that extra mile and see, who's better. For me, I'm looking for that win, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Christian brings to the ring. See what skill set he brings, what he has, and I'm looking to do my best and pretty much perform in a way that is where I'm satisfied, and so is the crowd.
You've always put on entertaining, fan-friendly fights. That's like I said, that's for sure. You want to give a prediction for tomorrow? For February 18th?
Oh, we'll just have to wait and see.
Austin Rivas returns to the ring February 18th. Rainier Promotions, down in Corpus Christi. Do you have social media? Let everyone know where they can find you on social media.
I don't currently have social media. Something that I've been working on in a sense. So currently, no, I don't have anything where I'm giving updates or of anything boxing related yet.
All right. No problem. Looking forward to seeing you on February 18th. Christian Perez against Christian Perez. Austin Rivas, it was great talking to you. It's great having you on. I appreciate your time, champ.
Likewise, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. God bless.